Exactly. You had completely normal pregnancy and no illness, but when Jacob was born here at St. John's, actually, he was 10 pounds, 11 and a half ounces, so he was always off the charts height and weight-wise, and our pediatrician knew that something was a little off, but we couldn't quite put our finger on it. But when he was attending the 3-year-old pre-K at the cathedral, our teacher one day pulled me aside and said, you know, Mrs. Moore, all the other kids, the other 10 kids in school could do this activity, this 3-step activity, except Jacob. He couldn't do it. And I said, well, what did he do? And they said, well, he went over to my desk and hid under the desk and pretended to read a book. So even at the age of 3, he was able to, use that as a defense mechanism to separate himself from everybody else and pretend like when he couldn't understand what was going on or what was expected of him, he knew he could isolate himself and go into his own world and kind of be safer that way. So we ended up taking him to the doctor, and she recommended us to see Dr. Jane Yost, and at age 3, Dr. Yost diagnosed him with executive function disorder. So,
and what does that entail?
The best way that I can describe it to people is that it's like Asperger's, autism. Jacob is very high functioning, but he very much lives on the autistic spectrum. So it hinders him in communication, both understanding and communicating, articulating, talking, and socially inappropriate in public. He's very loud a lot. He's got some little other things too, like OCD and some other issues, and maybe some things that aren't completely diagnosed yet at this point, but he's such a sweet little boy, and we love him a lot, but he's a big guy, and he has a lot of behavioral issues that are really kind of tough for us to handle from time to time.
BJ, this was hard for you too when they first diagnosed him, right?
This was extremely hard. I mean, I was kind of in denial for a while. I mean,
your firstborn son.
Yeah. And really, now that we have had Josh, there's things that I've seen that are so different from Josh and Jake. I remember laying in bed watching him breathe and wondering if he was going to take another breath because his breathing was so irregular. But when this is your first child, you're told, oh, children have unusual breathing patterns and stuff.
So you're not sure what's normal.
So you're not really sure what's normal or not. And really, I mean, now looking back on it, it's like that wasn't normal. And I know a few years ago he went through a surgery where he had his tonsils removed and his adenoids and stuff like that. And now he breathes a lot better. So, there were a lot of issues. Now looking back on it, maybe if he wasn't our first son, we'd have noticed something earlier. But then 3 o'clock.
What's been the most difficult part of this whole journey for both of you as parents?
I think for me it's, having difficulty knowing the best way to parent Jacob because he is a child with special needs, and you can't talk to Jacob and do the same things with Jacob that you could with other children. He doesn't understand.
Tips that you read in the parenting magazines don't apply to him, do they?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's, trying to figure out the best way to parent Jacob and the best things to do for him. His behaviors are very difficult. We went through a time where, he would kick and hit and scream and pinch, and we would be bruised from, our arms and our legs.
Well, and he's a big guy. I was going to ask you, how do you physically handle him alone?
He is sometimes difficult to physically handle, and that's when we had to go, especially when Joshua was born. Jacob just really had probably the most horrible 6 months to a year because he couldn't understand, what was going on. He just couldn't get his mind.
Another baby was coming.
Yeah, he just couldn't understand that. And that was probably one of the most difficult experiences for us, trying to help him through that with a new baby. And, he was up all night, and we were up all night, and everybody was sick. And, we just Googled it 2:30 a.m., help, autism, parents, stressed, and we found the autism program and in Springfield, and we just have really loved that opportunity to network with other parents, and you don't feel so alone then anymore, and then you do get good advice. And coming here to St. John's Hospital for the PT and OT, for the speech and OT with Arena and Susan, they give us weekly advice, and we couldn't do this without that kind of support. I thought at first that that would just be like therapy for Jacob to help him. But what I learned through this process the last year and a half is that oftentimes when we come here, they're teaching us how to talk with him and how to draw him out and physical things to do with him that will calm him down and make him feel more secure, and how to draw things on pictures and communicate with him through pictures, and because he's very visual as opposed to hearing things through speech. He has to see pictures of things. So they've really taught us how to be better parents to our son and how to better communicate with him and how to try to keep him calm and feeling secure and that type of thing. And that's really helped us. It's helped Jacob, and it's helped our family.
How does he get along with his little brother,
Yeah.
Josh?
He loves his little brother Josh. He loves him now.
Yeah.
He didn't always
Once he
love
realized he
him.
wasn't going back,
Yeah.
He was like, okay, if I got to deal with him, I got to deal with him.
Yeah.
he's sticking around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they play together. I think one thing with Jake being so big and he doesn't kind of understand how big he is, you got to be careful with him wrestling around and stuff, that he doesn't lay on him or something, because
Yeah.
he outweighs Josh by so much, but Josh loves it. They have a good time together. So.
What would you like to say to the therapists who have helped you out? Because you've seen some great progress with.
Oh,
with Jake.
yeah.
We have. We just would say thank you. I mean, we can't thank them enough. They have done such a great job with Jake and with us building our understanding and trying to help him. And it's really been a great experience for
Great.
us.
And I'd just like to say to Arena and Susan that, we just love them and appreciate them so much. And really, they're not just therapists. They're not Jake's therapist to us. They're just like family to us. We just couldn't function as well as we do as a family unit without their care and support. They're constantly helping us, guiding us, and giving us all these therapeutic suggestions and techniques and things that'll make just everyday life easier for us. But, what they've done has really helped us to just meld as a family and just be happier and be more functional. And so they're helping us to help Jacob become more independent. So we're so grateful for that.